Yes!
It's going well, it's very, very well organised. What they do, get me a ladder. It's going well, team.
Hey, you going right, or are you just reaching out for Boris?
No. Ici nous allons. Welcome to the most painful thing I've ever done.
Ask you about some of the things that came up in the documentary.
Right. Well, I haven't seen it, so you
know. But this happened in your life, so you know about this. The Times
theory.
let you go after you made up a quote. Why did you make up a quote?
Well, this again, you know, these are big terms for what happened. Well, I can tell you the whole thing. I mean, I think are you sure our viewers wouldn't want to hear more about?
Well, all right. If you don't want to talk about the made-up quote, let me talk about something.
It was a long and lamentable story.
Okay, but you made a quote.
Well, what happened was that I ascribed events that were supposed to have taken place before the death of Piers Gaveston to events that actually took place after the death
you
of
made
Piers
something
Gaveston.
up. Let me ask you about another little...
I mean, I mildly sandpapered something somebody
Let me ask
said,
you about a
yes,
barefaced
lie. Very
lie,
embarrassing. I'm very sorry about it.
Let me ask you about a barefaced lie. When you were in Michael Howard's team, you denied to him you were having an affair. It turned out you were. And he sacked you for that. Why did you lie to your party?
Well, I mean, again, with great respect, on that, I never had any conversation with Michael Howard about that matter, and, you know, I don't...
You did lie.
Well, you know, I don't propose to go into all that again.
I don't blame you.
No, well, why should I? I mean, I've been through, you know, that question a lot with the... Watch the documentary.
Okay.
Why don't we talk about something else?
The programme also includes... Well, this is about your integrity.
Okay.
The programme includes your reaction as you listen to a phone call in which your friend, Darius Guppy, asks you to supply the address of a journalist so that he can have him physically assaulted. The words beaten up and broken ribs are said to you. And you, having heard that, you tell your friend, Darius Guppy, you will supply the address. What does that say about you, Boris Johnson?
Well,
aren't you, in fact, making up quotes, lying to your party leader, wanting to be part of someone being physically assaulted? You're a nasty piece of work, aren't you?
Well, you know, Eddie, I think all three things I would dispute.
Well, you don't factually dispute them.
Well, I do, and I could, you know, if we had a long time, which we don't, I could explain that I think all three interpretations you're putting on those things aren't wholly fair. And certainly the final thing which you raise, which is the case of my old friend Darius. Yes, it was certainly true that he was in a bit of a state, and I did humour him in a long phone conversation, from which absolutely nothing eventuated. And you know, there you go. But I think if any of us had our phone conversations bugged, they might, you know, people say all sorts of fantastical things whilst they're talking to their friends.
But even Conrad Black, your friend,
I think
convicted fraudster, even he says he doesn't trust you completely.
I hadn't seen that Conrad had said that, but obviously, you know, nonetheless, I've got a great admiration for Conrad, who, in my view, is a pretty good journalist.
Boris, have you got this number?
Gerard, look, there is a guy at the moment going through his file at home.
Fantastic. But I am telling you something, Boris. This guy has got my blood up, all right? And there is nothing which I won't do to get my revenge. It's as simple as that.
How badly are you going to hurt this guy?
Not badly at all.
I want to know.
Okay, let me explain this.
If this guy is serious, I'm fucking curious.
I guarantee you, he will not be serious.
How badly hurt will he be?
He will not have a broken limb or broken arm. He will not be you probably get a couple of black eyes and a cracked rib or something like that. Nothing which you didn't suffer in rugby, okay? But you get scared, and that's what I want him to do. I want him to get scared. I want him to have no idea who's behind it, okay?
Sorry, if I get.
You will not, Boris. I swear to you. If you knew...
I'm not fair. I just got this bloody number for you. Don't worry. Okay, Derry. I said I'll do it. Don't worry.
Boris, I really mean it. I love you.
What
Great
is it,
supine protoplasmic invertebrate jellies. Great supine protoplasmic invertebrate jellies.
Why are we talking about nuclear annihilation?
Absolutely. I think millions of people hearing the news that the British Prime Minister has effectively abdicated the whole point of our nuclear deterrent will be extremely perturbed. It's not just our own country that depends on Britain being strong and being robust in the world. There are plenty of allies we have in NATO around the world who look to us for a lead, who believe greatly in Britain. I think they will have been very disappointed to think that a leader of a major party could be perhaps on the verge of becoming Prime Minister on Thursday of next week with that kind of approach. And I think people in Brussels, listening to what he had to say about the EU, will really have been a bit flummoxed. It is still not clear whether he wants to be inside the single market or outside, whether he wants to be inside the customs union or outside. What he wants to achieve on immigration is still, I'm afraid, a bit of a mystery.
Not answer the questions on the public sector, on the fact that the nurses that are keeping the NHS up and running have had a 40% pay cut since 2010 and are using food banks. He's never used a food bank. He's never been to a food bank.
Right,
Actually, I started.
Hang on a second. What I want to do,
you should take that
Boris,
back, boy. Take it back.
No, well, why don't you just sort this out? Hang on a second.
Why don't you take it back?
I just want to hear.
You just pointed in my face.
I want to hear from. Let's hear from Jeremy Corbyn. This is what he had to say about that nuclear deterrent. Let's hear from Jeremy Corbyn. This is what he had to say about that nuclear deterrent. Let's hear from Jeremy Corbyn. This is what he had to say about that nuclear deterrent.
Right to the single market.
Boris,
in or out of the single market.
Boris,
Now's your moment.
pensions.
In or out.
I asked the pensions question first. So come on, how many winter fuel allowance?
Do you actually want to leave the EU?
Well, I don't think you're going to get an answer on that. But
I don't think
I've just said yes.
No,
so
but
so are you going to leave the customs union?
Boris, I've just said we are leaving the European Union.
Tell me what you're going to do on immigration. Tell me what you're going to do on immigration.
No, excuse me.
We don't have an immigration policy that works for the
Are you going to bring immigration down?
No. Can I just say one thing to you both? A question to you both. Doesn't your exchange show that we should have had face-to-face debates between the
Absolutely. What's she running scared of?
Come on. Are you going to bring immigration down?
No.
Yes,
I'm asking you a question. Doesn't it show we should have had face-to-face debates?
I'm much more interested in talking to this chap. He doesn't have a faintest idea what he's on about. He doesn't even know whether he wants to come out.
Well, I'm asking a straight question. Shouldn't we have had face-to-face debates?
Do you want to come out of the customs union? Do you want to? No, come on.
You're not even answering Adam's
Last question.
Andrew, do you want to come out of the customs union?
No. Should we, Boris Johnson?
Customs union. Quick.
All right. Sorry.
Last chance. Do you
no,
want
your
to come
last
out of the
chance.
customs union?
Your last chance. Should we have had face-to-face debates between the leaders?
I want to have a face-to-face debate with this.
Okay, we'll let you carry on.
I want to know whether he wants to come out of the customs union. I can't get an answer. Don't send Jeremy Corbyn to negotiate for us. They don't have a clue what they're talking about.
You don't have a clue.
You don't have a clue about negotiation.
Let's go down to Tamara Cohen, who is hearing.
We are leaving the European Union.
Are you leaving the customs union?
We are leaving the European Union.
I asked him this last time.
Boris,
remember? I asked him this last time.
Boris, I'm sorry to say
I'm so sorry. Go on.
Don't be a pillock.
Come on. You're leaving the customs union.
Boris, I'm sorry to say
I'm so sorry. Go on.
Don't be a pillock.
Come on. You're leaving the customs union. Today, that there is any connection whatever between my remarks last week and the legal proceedings underway against Nazanin Zaghari-Ratcliffe in Tehran today. And I may say to the Right Honourable Lady that she has a choice. She always has a choice in these matters. She can choose to heap blame onto the British Foreign Office that is trying to secure the release of Nazanin Zaghari-Ratcliffe, and in so doing, she deflects blame, she deflects accountability from those
I made this.